Hi guys, good morning everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sai Kiran. Today we are going to discuss about database. Guys, we do have multiple databases like structured data, unstructured data, and then in-memory data. So first we'll try to understand at what particular point of time what database is required. Then we'll jump on to the practicals. Imagine there is a site called Amazon. Okay, so once you get into the Amazon, what you'll do, you will enter your username and then you will enter your password. And we all know this trick where it will speak with the database in the backend and then it will retrieve the information from there and you'll able to log in. Correct? But what if you entered the wrong username and then what if you have entered the wrong password? You will get an pop-up stating that you are not able to log in because your wrong credentials or credentials were not matching. But how does that web server know that you are entering the wrong credentials? Here again in the database, whenever during the time of your sign up to this Amazon site, whatever data you have given like username, password, credit card information, address, name, and all these things will be stored in a structured format. Structured format. You can't try to manipulate this structure format by giving the wrong credentials, wrong username or wrong password. As like I said before, we also do have credentials, user credentials, and then we also do have information like names, address, payment details, and order history. All these comes under structured format only. Structured format only. But we do have different types in this structured database. First, we'll see what are the different databases we do have. The very first one is RDBMS, which is Relational Database Management Server, and then we do have MySQL, and then we do have Oracle, and then we do have Postgres. Guys, do not worry with these names. All these databases were used under the business use cases only. Okay, and then we do have MariaDB, and then we do have Aurora. So these are the different types of structured databases. Now we'll see what are the different types of databases we do have in unstructured database. Now we'll see about unstructured database. Guys, the very simple example I can tell you for unstructured database is S3. Remember, you are deploying your own portfolio and you wanted to show up your resume and then you wanted to show up your some of the photo or something. So is it really necessary for that to create a separate database? Not required, right? End of the day, you should also think about the cost optimization. In such case, what you can do is you can simply upload that in the S3 bucket. Why we are uploading it in S3 bucket? Because S3 bucket stores all unstructured data like MP3 files, videos, photos, descriptions, or if you go to the Amazon site, you will be seeing a lot of Giphy images, okay, and then you'll be seeing a lot of videos, reviews. In real-time use case, you will be running cron jobs on daily basis, okay, just for the backup. All these backup files will be stored in S3. So all these will comes under unstructured data. But there are also different types in unstructured databases. What are the different types of databases, unstructured databases we do have? The very first one is AWS, DynamoDB, and the second one is DocumentDB, and the third one is Cassandra. These are all comes under unstructured database. Now the very third one we do have is in-memory database. In-memory database. Guys, I'll tell you a small example for the in-memory database, but don't include this into a databases. CDN is again nothing but content delivery network. In Amazon India site, I'm saying it again, in Amazon India site, you have seen an Nike shoes. And then due to some Black Friday or due to some uh, Christmas function, I mean Christmas holidays or Christmas occasion or something, you wanted to see the same price in USA, Amazon USA. So do you really think the same image of Nike Jordan shoes are uploading the same images them into an S3 bucket? It's 100% no. Instead of that, what they will do is, see again, if you are uploading here, and what is the point of uploading here it again? Correct. So here there is something called cache memory. There is something called cache memory. Where this cache memory will be stored is, this cache memory will be stored on RAM. The reason why it is storing it on the RAM is, RAM allows you for extremely fast read and write operations, and it also provides a high speed retrievals. In memory database, we do have something called elastic cache, and then we do have AWS Redis. I hope you understand, guys, the difference between the structured, unstructured, and the in-memory database. Today we are going to discuss about. Today we are going to discuss about RDS, and then we are going to discuss about MySQL.
So here is the console, guys. Before coming to the session, what I have did is I have created a database because it will take somewhere around 10 to 15 minutes to install. But I'll show you how to install this database. First, you have to enter RDS, and then this tab will open. Do not create directly database. Instead of that, first we need to create subnet groups. How to create subnet groups? Create DB subnet group. Give the name here, description, and then make sure you're selecting your VPC, and then select the subnets. Three availability zones are enough for me, and make sure you're selecting the public subnets. If you wanted to select the private subnets, yes, you can select the private subnets also. In my case, I'm selecting only public subnets, and then simply click on create subnets. See, make sure that you are waiting till the status is showing as an complete. But the reason why we are selecting creating a public subnet group is, I'll show you in a simple diagram. Imagine this is your VPC, okay, and imagine there are three subnets here, three subnets, okay. Here you are keeping your app servers here, some application, let's say, and here also same, some application, and here also same, some application. Now what will happen? Your database will be deployed in two availability zones, availability 1 and availability 2. This is second database, okay. But how does your app servers know that this is database 1 and this is database 2? The reason why two databases are creating is, for instance, imagine this availability zone has been down due to some issues. Then what will happen? All the traffic from your app servers will be routed to this database. If this is down, then it will be routed to this second database, which is the secondary database. But how does your app servers know this? App servers doesn't know your databases. Here there is something called endpoints. Actually, here there is something called endpoints in between your app server and database. Endpoints. Endpoints. I'll show you where was this endpoint was. If you click on databases, see, I have already created this. I'll show you how to create. Click on create database, standard create, and then make sure you're selecting the MySQL. Scroll down. You can select whatever version you want. Scroll down, make sure you're selecting the production itself. Select multi availability zone database instance. I'll tell you what was this multi availability zone database cluster. This was new actually. I'll tell you exactly what does this both does. For now, select multi availability zone database instance, and then give the name, give the username as admin itself only, give your credentials here. I'll give my credentials. Scroll down, select burstable classes. Make sure you're selecting medium is enough because 2 CPU and 4 GB RAM, right? Our database will be created in two availability zones, so total 4 CPUs and 8 GB RAM. 2 plus 2, 4 plus 4. GP2 is enough. 200 GB is not really required. 20 GB is enough for me because it's just a testing environment. and I'm going to select this don't connect to an EC2 compute resource. If you select connect, then automatically an instance will be created where it will be connected to your database. And after that, make sure you're selecting your VPC, select your subnet group. This have been created already in the initial time itself only. And then public, yes, give the public access as yes. In real time, you're supposed to give no. Choose the existing service security group and then select the security groups. Scroll down. If you click on this certificate, even if you're not giving, it will take the default one. So you can leave it as it is. This is the port number of our database 3306. If you scroll down, there is something called, these are all advanced configurations. Make sure you're turning off this, and also make sure you're turning off the backup. Encryption is not required. Enable monitor, no, this is also not required. Delete protection is also not required. Make sure you're turning on the enhanced protection. This is our enable enhanced monitoring. Make sure you're turning on this. If you remember our auto scaling group, we have did something with the alarms, where it will go and monitor for each and every 60 seconds. If anything goes down, then it will terminate that particular instance and it will create a new one. So this is the same thing, and then simply click on create. Now it will deploy an database. As I said, I'll show you something about the endpoints, right? See, once after the creation of database, you'll be seeing one endpoint here. So this endpoint will be here itself between your app servers and your database. Whenever a traffic is hitting from this server, it will go to the endpoint first and it will route it like this. It will go from the endpoint and it will route it to your primary database. For instance, some issue has been happened and this database is completely down, then what will happen is, then secondary server will come into the game, which is failover and failback policies, and all this traffic will be routed to the secondary database. Got it? This is the reason why we are selecting subnets. Now it's done. What's the next step is, make sure you're creating two instances. One is for windows. Windows is for what? For creation of SQL Workbench. Click on Windows, select 2019. I'll take T2 medium. Take T2 medium only because the difference between medium and T2 large is two CPUs same, but the memory is different. So two CPU and 4 GB is enough. Select the key pair, edit settings. Make sure you're selecting the VPC, enable security groups, give your security groups, and then launch instance. Now again create one more instance for Ubuntu. Select Ubuntu, select 22. T2 micro is fine. Keep a, select your VPC, give your public subnet, enable security groups, and then public management server, and then launch instance. Let's wait for this Windows instance to come up, guys, because it will take 4 minutes to come up, and then we will log in and we'll make sure that we are installing SQL Workbench, C++, and also we'll make sure that we are turning off the firewall. In real time, it's not required to turn off the firewall. We'll be having some VPNs and blockers, but for now, this is our own environment, right? So we are supposed to turn off the firewalls. Meanwhile, we'll see our database is in two different availability zones or not. Come back to the database, click on database. Guys, make sure that the status should be shown as available. Then only it is up and ready. If you see the primary zone is showing as 1B, correct? And if you go to the configuration, if you scroll down completely, see the secondary zone is in 1C. Okay. Now go back to our instances, refresh and check whether if our Windows instance is up or not. If it is up, we can log in. Okay, it's up. Select my keeper and decrypt the password. I'll open RDP. Connect. Copy the password. More choices, different user, administrator, and then login. Let's wait for this to come up. Our Windows server is up, guys. Now what we have to do is go to command prompt and make sure you're turning on your firewall. firewall.cpl, turn off, and then click on OK. Nice. Open server manager and also turn off your enhanced configuration. Click on local servers and then turn it off. Nice. Once it is done, install Chrome, because with Internet Explorer we can't do it. I'll install Chrome. Click on Chrome, accept and install, and then run. Our Chrome has been installed, guys. Now what I'm gonna do, I'll make sure the time I'll make sure that I'm downloading C++. Yeah, this is the one. I required 64-bit. Scroll down. This is the one. Install it. Open. On the other hand, you can also open SQL Workbench. Yeah, here it is. MySQL Workbench. Download now. Download. C++ has been installed successfully. Now install the Workbench. Click on next. Next. Install. It has been finished. Now you have to log into your Workbench. In order to log into your Workbench, make sure you are copying your endpoint, and then make sure you're remembering your password, which what you have given during the time of creating your database. Come back here, click on add. I'll give main DB, and then hostname, your endpoint, username, admin, password, and then click on OK. OK. See, our SQL Workbench has been logged in. Now, if you click on schemas, if you see here, only system is there. That's it. Correct? Nothing has been there. Now, what we're going to do is, guys, this is something which is related to the admin perspective. Now, what we're going to do is, we are going to add some data here. Okay? Click on it. Minimize. I'm going to give you this data. Do not worry. And don't think this is something related to the development. No, this is just a, where it is, our schema. Yeah, here it is. This is just I got from the different repositories and AI tools. I'll copy this to 247, I think. Yeah, till here. Copy it. Go back to your SQL bench. Paste it here, and watch here carefully. I am not able to zoom here. I do not have any option to zoom here. I'm going to run this. What I'm doing here, I'm just adding a data. I'll just click on run, and if I refresh here, see, I got my data here, which is in myflexdb. Now what I'll do, I'll just open another tab. I'll simply run, select everything from movies, and then if I run, see, I can see my movies here. Correct? Now what we're going to do, we're going to add some more queries here. I'll come back. I'll copy this. Pirates of the Caribbean 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. Till 44 I am adding here. I'm going to go back to my SQL Workbench. Again, I'm saying this is all something related to the admin task. Once after this, we are going to jump back to the web server, which where we'll be testing it from the Ubuntu instance. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this again. And if you go back to your previous tab, and if you refresh here, see, these movies have been added. Again, we have added some data into our database. Okay. Now what we shall do is, now we'll go back to our Ubuntu instance and we'll see whether our Ubuntu instance is connecting to our database or not. And if it is connecting, and we'll see whether this data has been retrieving or not, whether our Ubuntu instance is collecting our data or not. Minimize, come back to your instances, log into my Ubuntu server, connect. Before doing it, we need to install some dependencies, guys. I'm going to give you all these uh, SQL queries and all this Python code. Do not worry. So what we have to install is, first we need to install Python 3. After update, nice. Now I'm going to run pip install 3, and then I'm going to install these two dependencies. Okay, it has been installed successfully. Now I'm going to install the rest two dependencies. Okay, it's done. Now I'll create nano app.py. Oh, sorry, it's py. Guys, make sure you're changing your admin and then password here, and also make sure that you're changing your endpoint here. Okay, this is my admin and then this is my password, and now I'm going to change my endpoint. For that, what you have to do, come back to your database, click on connectivity, copy your endpoint. Where is my instance? Here. Oh, I'm sorry, here it is. I'll remove this and then I'll paste my endpoint. Make sure you're copying all the Python code, copy it. Here in this Python code, what we are saying is it is importing the necessary packages or necessary modules, and then we are creating an engine and we are informing it to go and connect to my database via this endpoint and retrieve the information of the movies. Okay, I'm going to give this, I'll put it in the repository, do not worry. Copy it, come back to your Ubuntu instance, nano app.py, and then paste it here. Now what you have to do, Python 3 app.py. See, this is the data we have right here. If you watch here in our RDS, see, this is the data we have in our database. Now what this Ubuntu has did, Ubuntu has, let me, Ubuntu has collected all the data from here. Now we'll do one thing, watch, we'll leave it as it is watching that command. Now what we're going to do is, we are going to, let me minimize this here. We are going to create one more tab. We are going to run some more queries here, and we'll see whether if it is sorry guys, we are going to run some more queries in our database and we are going to add some more data in our database, and we'll see whether our Ubuntu instance is retrieving this data from the database or not. I'll, this is 600, right? I'll give this as 9, and then I'll copy this and I'll paste it in a, I'll keep this tab open in the backend. I'll open separate tab here and then I'll paste it, and I'll make sure that I'm running it. If you come back here to the movies, see, movies have been added here, and if you see here, it is immediately retrieving the information from our database. Correct? Now what we'll see is, we have discussed something in the figure, right? This is the primary database and this is the secondary database. I'm sorry guys. So once this server is down, what we have discussed, automatically the routes will be transferred via endpoint to the secondary database. Now we'll see that. I'll do one thing. I'm going to wantedly fail this. I'll reboot it with failover, and then I'll confirm. Now we'll keep watching this. Where it is? We'll keep watching this. Before that, I have to do something actually. I forgot to do it. You have to copy your endpoint and see on which IP it is running. And let's look up. Then if you enter, see it's running on 34, 235, 68, and 132. Now it will get disconnected. Watch carefully. See, it's got disconnected now. Now the traffic will be routed to the secondary database. We have failed this wantedly. It will be routed to the secondary database, but it will be taking some time in the backend. See, if you see here, it is back again. The routes, I mean, the traffic has been shifted to the secondary database. And if you watch here with NS lookup, the IP should also be changed. See, before it is 34, 235, 68, right? Now it is 52, 205, 61. Got it? The reason why I am showing you failover and failback is, see, as a DevOps admin or as a cloud admin, during this time of this failover and failback, it's your responsibility to inform your application development team, like if there is any issue from the backend, and it will take 2 minutes of time to come up, because that's something called failover and failback policy. So in such case, what is the best option you can recommend? You can recommend them to go with the cache memory in order to avoid the miscommunication or downtime between the data. Cache memory is again something I told you before the introduction, where I have taken an example of a content delivery network, where it will cache the memory for speed retrievals, for data fast transmissions also. When creating database, I have showed you something which is a cluster database and then instance database. I'll show you now. Click on MySQL. See, this is something we have selected multi-availability zone database instance. Here, what it is saying is, see, there will be two databases, primary and secondary, correct? But what does it exactly mean is, if if the primary is in working condition, the secondary is idle, right? In such cases, you can't even write or you can't even do any other activities on the secondary DB. This is what exactly what it means. But when it comes to the multi availability zone DB cluster, for instance, I'll tell you something. Development team will ask you that we need a copy of a production DB server, okay, or production DB server copy. Then in such case, what you can do is, we will we will copy the read replica server and we will promote it to the replication server. So that option is available here in this multi availability zone DB cluster. What exactly this read replica server means is, see, read replica is something, again, it's like an exactly a same as an primary copy, okay, but you can't do any kind of changes, or if you wanted to do any write operations, no, it will not allow you to do it. You can only read it. Got it? So that's all I wanted to talk about this SQL DB, guys. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is we are going to discuss something about DynamoDB and then API gateway with Lambda functions. And after that, what we are going to do is we are going to discuss about document DB and then secrets manager and then elastic cache. We will be also discussing on it. And end of the database sessions, we are going to discuss something about Redshift data analytics. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you up. Thank you so much for taking some time to watching my video. Please put it in the comment section if you have any doubts. You can also connect to me on LinkedIn. I'll be posting all the links in the description. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you in the tomorrow's session. Bye bye.